Hello and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to check out the latest news from the world of cinema, from the newest upcoming movies to the latest happenings around celebrities. This channel just started a few days ago, so please don't be surprised by the number of views or subscribers. A new video like this will be released every Friday, so don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss any new uploads. As always, let's get straight to it. Alright, first let's talk about the trending series whose new seasons are coming soon. The most talked about one last week was Stranger Things and its 5th season. The surprising thing about it is that each episode apparently has a budget of $60 million, which means the total budget for the season is around $480 million. What's interesting is that the first season's budget was $48 million. So in just 5 seasons, the show's budget has increased tenfold. This budget has made the series the most expensive show in history, as it's the only one to spend $500 million on a single season. Even the Lord of the Rings series, which previously held the record, was planned to cost around $1 billion, but that was for 4 seasons. There are also some other interesting details about this season. Apparently, each episode will be between 1.5 to 2 hours long, and the final episode will run for more than 2 hours. This season will have only 8 episodes in total and will be released in 3 separate parts. The first 4 episodes are set to premiere on November 26th. The remaining episodes, except for the finale, will be released on December 25, and the final episode will come out on December 31. Another Netflix series that got a lot of attention last week was Peaky Blinders. It was revealed that the story is going to continue, and even though the first season of the new series hasn't been made yet, it's already been renewed for a second season. Each season will have 6 one-hour episodes, and the story will take place in 1953 after the events of the original series. This means the main characters from the original Peaky Blinders won't appear anymore, and the show will focus on the new generation, the next Shelby family. We'll get to see what happens to this family after World War II. Interestingly, the original creator of Peaky Blinders is also behind this new series, and Cillian Murphy will serve as its producer. From Netflix's rival HBO, 2 other shows also made headlines last week. One of them was the release of new official images from Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Apparently, this show is quite different from the other Game of Thrones spin-offs. For one thing, it won't have an opening sequence anymore, and that famous Game of Thrones theme song won't return, meaning Ramin Djawadi is not involved in this series. Also, for the first time, we'll get to hear a Game of Thrones story that doesn't revolve around kings, rulers, or the Iron Throne itself. The director himself said that he promised George R. R. Martin the show would focus on the lower class and ordinary people of Westeros rather than kings and lords. He also mentioned that the series will stay completely faithful to the original novel. The Knight of the Seven Kingdoms tells the story of a knight named Ser Duncan the Tall, who travels with Aegon Targaryen V, the man who would become the grandfather of the Mad King. That means the story of this series takes place about 50 years before the events of Game of Thrones. The 2 of them go on a journey together and will follow their adventures throughout the show. The series is set to premiere at the very beginning of 2026, specifically in January. But as I mentioned earlier, there were 2 pieces of HBO news. The second one is short. The very first official image of Professor Dumbledore, played by John Lithgow, from the upcoming Harry Potter series has been released online. Filming for the series is still ongoing, and it's scheduled to premiere in the summer of 2027. The last show that made headlines last week was Dexter. As we've mentioned in previous updates, it's a continuation of the original, highly successful series. The first season of the revival received excellent ratings from viewers, and Michael C. Hall, the lead actor, officially confirmed in a short video that the show has been renewed for its 2nd season, which is set to be released in 2026. For the next piece of news, let's move on to the new movies that are on the way. Last week, George Clooney officially announced that Ocean's 14 is going to be made, and the original stars Brad Pitt, Julia Roberts, and Matt Damon will all return. Apparently, the contracts have already been signed, and Clooney said that they've secured the full budget from the studio. Filming is scheduled to begin in the summer of 2026. The film's budget is being funded by Warner Brothers, but the director hasn't been confirmed yet. However, media outlets are speculating that David Leitch, the director of Deadpool 2, is the most likely candidate to direct it. Another classic film that's getting a sequel is Heat 2. If you remember from a few weeks ago, I mentioned that Michael Mann was trying to secure the budget for the movie, but no studio wanted to fund it. Amazon Studios eventually stepped in and agreed to provide the budget, but only on the condition that Leonardo DiCaprio stars in the film. It's now officially confirmed that Amazon will produce the sequel, and DiCaprio is currently in talks to play the lead role. He's expected to play the character Chris, who was portrayed by Val Kilmer in the first movie, the actor who has since passed away. Several other big stars are also in negotiations to join the cast, including Austin Butler, Adam Driver, and Bradley Cooper, although their deals haven't been finalized yet. The movie's budget is reportedly around $170 million. The story itself is interesting. It won't follow a linear timeline and will explore both the events that happened before Heat and what happened afterward, showing what became of each of the main characters. Filming for the movie is set to begin in 2026, and it's planned to be released in the summer of 2027. Amazon also had a really strange controversy last week that worried a lot of James Bond fans. As we mentioned in previous updates, Amazon recently bought all the copyrights for James Bond, meaning it now fully owns the franchise. But this week, the company did something quite unexpected. On International James Bond Day, Amazon changed all the movie posters for every Bond film on its streaming platform, and in a way, censored them. What kind of censorship? They removed all the guns from James Bond's hands and also erased all the female characters from the posters. Basically, the two elements that define the Bond identity, the Bond girls and the guns, were taken out. This caused massive backlash among fans and quickly turned into a topic of ridicule across the internet. Because of the criticism, Amazon soon reverted most of the posters and brought back the guns. However, the company is still standing by its decision not to restore the guns on the posters for Daniel Craig's Bond films. Those remain altered. This whole issue sparked online debate about Amazon's approach, with many fans worrying that if the company goes on to produce new James Bond movies, there might be some very strange changes to come. There was also some bad news last week for fans of the Fast and Furious franchise. As you probably know, the later installments of the series have been extremely expensive and haven't performed as well at the box office. For example, the previous movie had a budget of nearly $300 million and barely managed to make a profit. It almost became a financial disaster for Universal. Now, Vin Diesel reportedly requested a $340 million budget for the next movie, but Universal officially rejected it, saying the budget needs to be reduced by $140 million. The studio stated that the maximum it's willing to spend is $200 million. The reason behind the rejection is that the movie's pre-production has been ongoing for 2 years, yet there's still no finished script, and the main cast hasn't signed their contracts. Meanwhile, Vin Diesel keeps bringing up the film in public appearances, teasing big-name actors he claims might join the project. Universal has given Vin Diesel until 2026 to make his final decisions, and by 2027, the movie must be ready for release. Universal had another piece of news this week. As we mentioned in earlier reports, the release date for the Michael Jackson biopic has been repeatedly delayed because Michael Jackson's family hasn't been happy with the film's story. Even Paris Jackson publicly protested at the Venice Film Festival, saying that the filmmakers never consulted with the family during production. After these objections, Universal decided to make major changes to the project, rewriting and refilming a large portion of the movie. It's been nearly 2 years now since filming began, and it just keeps getting delayed. Scenes related to drug use and the allegations of child abuse have reportedly been completely removed from the film. Another piece of news about upcoming movies is related to director Ron Howard. As you probably know, he's well known for his work on biographical films, stories based on real-life events like A Beautiful Mind and Cinderella Man. Now he's teaming up with Adam Driver and Anne Hathaway for a new movie titled Alone at Dawn, which is directly adapted from the novel of the same name. The film tells the story of a U.S. Air Force officer who was killed in Afghanistan in 2002. 15 years later, the US government sends a team to investigate whether he truly deserved the Medal of Honor. But once the team arrives in Afghanistan, they uncover some shocking and unexpected truths. The final piece of movie news this week comes from the John Wick universe. Right now, Several spin-offs from the John Wick world are in production. We've talked before about the one focused on the character Kane, plus an upcoming John Wick animated feature film, and the fact that John Wick 5 is already being written. Now it's been revealed that a samurai western spin-off is also in development. This one won't be about John Wick himself, but will take place in the same universe set in the distant past, featuring completely new characters within that world. For the next news, let's move on to celebrities. Last week, the most viral celebrity video online featured Cillian Murphy, and you've probably seen it. The video was from his appearance on The Graham Norton Show alongside Taylor Swift, where Taylor Swift revealed her engagement ring to the public for the very first time. Given how many fans Taylor Swift has, even just showing her ring became a major celebrity news moment. However, it was Cillian Murphy's reaction that went completely viral and even turned into a meme. Although he tried to act like he was interested, you could tell from his eyes that he was actually thinking about how unimportant the whole situation really was. Interestingly, Cillian Murphy's son was also present on the show. When the discussion turned to him, he sat so quietly and calmly that the cameraman had a hard time finding him on screen. When they finally did, many viewers online remarked that the boy looks exactly like his father, a smaller version of Cillian Murphy, with the same completely indifferent expression toward everything. Another celebrity story from last week is related to Paris Fashion Week, where several notable events happened. The most controversial moment involved Charlize Theron and Johnny Depp. When Charlize Theron approached, she first greeted Emmanuel Macron's wife with a kiss on the cheek. Johnny Depp was there, waiting for Charlize to acknowledge him after she finished her greetings. Although Depp said hello to her, Charlize Theron ignored him and walked away. This interaction went viral on social media, receiving millions of views. Interestingly, the two had previously starred together in The Astronaut's Wife, which was not very successful. On social media, many speculated about the reason for Charlize's behavior, suggesting it might be because of the sexism allegations against Johnny Depp in the Amber Heard case. Apparently, Charlize Theron sided with Amber Heard, which is why she acted this way. Another highlight from Paris Fashion Week involved Nicole Kidman. Nicole, who has been surrounded by rumors in recent days due to her sudden divorce, attended the Chanel fashion show with her two daughters. One of her daughters is clearly a model, and it was obvious that Nicole was there to support her, similar to what Monica Bellucci and Heidi Klum do when attending fashion events with their own daughters. Regarding Nicole Kidman's divorce, there's also new information. It turns out that when she married her second husband, they signed a prenuptial agreement stating that if her husband stayed away from drugs, Nicole would have to pay him $600,000 for every year they were married in the event of a divorce. Since they were together for 19 years, this would mean Nicole would need to pay him $11 million. From the beginning of summer until now, Nicole's husband has not lived in the same house with her. Interestingly, he decided to pay all the child support up front until the children turn 18, so he wouldn't have to see Nicole or have any contact with her. Custody of the children has been granted to Nicole Kidman, with the kids spending only 59 days per year with their father and the rest of the year with their mother. As for the reason behind their divorce, rumors are circulating online, but no official statement has been made. The speculation is that Nicole's husband allegedly started a relationship with the guitarist from his band, and now they are living together. On the topic of prenups, there was also an interesting story last week about Selena Gomez's marriage. Apparently, when she was marrying Benny Blanco, they signed an agreement stating that if they ever divorced, Benny would receive nothing from Selena's wealth. It might be interesting to know that Selena Gomez is extremely successful, with a net worth of $1.3 billion, thanks to her cosmetics brand, essentially making her a billionaire. Both of them said that they signed the agreement not because they doubted each other, but out of mutual respect. They mentioned that Benny Blanco greatly respects Selena because she started from nothing and worked hard for her wealth. He added that he has no intention of claiming any part of it. Also last week, a surprising photo went viral of another Hollywood couple, Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck. As you know, their relationship has been serious twice before, with a marriage and almost another wedding. Last week, they were spotted together on the red carpet for Kiss of the Spider-Woman. They were talking warmly with each other, which led many people online to speculate that they might be back together. However, Jennifer Lopez recently stated that separating from Ben Affleck was one of the best things that ever happened to her. She said she feels much better now and has become a better person since their split. Based on her comments, it seems unlikely that they are getting back together. The reason they were together at the event was likely because Ben Affleck is the producer of her new film. Another celebrity story involves two news items related to artificial intelligence. Robin Williams' daughter issued a statement for the second time, asking people to stop creating AI videos of her father and sending them to her. She said that these videos upset her and that the behavior is completely inappropriate. Another actor who spoke about AI is Keanu Reeves. He mentioned that people make AI videos of him and send them to him, some of which are very strange, showing him doing bizarre things. He added that we are living in a world where people create content from our likeness, make money off it, and that this is not a good thing. It's starting to feel like something out of the Matrix. In the final celebrity news of the week, a viral photo of Jonah Hill showed his transformed appearance. You know Jonah Hill from The Wolf of Wall Street, where he appeared alongside Leonardo DiCaprio and was notably heavier? In this new photo, he has lost a significant amount of weight for his upcoming role in a film titled Outcome. Filming is almost complete, and the movie is expected to be released soon. Moving on to the box office, an interesting event happened last week. Taylor Swift simultaneously topped both the box office charts and Spotify charts. She released her film Party of a Showgirl in 3,700 cinemas. The film features a compilation of her music videos, behind-the-scenes content, and discussions about how she wrote the songs. In its first week, the movie earned $50 million at the box office, while her album reached 250 million listeners, making it the biggest album debut of 2025. Interestingly, the movie received an A+ cinema score, a 97% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 47 score on Metacritic. Interestingly, Taylor Swift took the top spot from the film One Battle After Another, which dropped to second place. In its second week, the movie earned another $49 million, bringing its total box office to over $100 million. With a budget of $150 million, it's highly likely the film will become profitable in the coming weeks. This has now become the highest grossing film in Paul Thomas Anderson's career, even surpassing There Will Be Blood. The film is officially scheduled for a wider release on November 25, and so far it has performed very well, receiving a 95 rating on Metacritic and an 8.3 on IMDb from 8,200 voters. Interestingly, Taylor Swift herself praised the film during an appearance on The Tonight Show, starring Jimmy Fallon, saying, "Thank God we live in a time with Paul Thomas Anderson." Many media outlets are also speculating that Chase Infinity, one of the film's actors, only 24 years old and appearing in his first role ever, might be considered for an Oscar nomination because of his performance. Another film that made headlines last week is Threshing Machine, the latest movie from Dwayne Johnson. In its opening week, it only earned $6 million. With a $50 million budget, it's very likely this film will be a commercial failure. The result was so unexpected that media outlets speculated about the film's profitability, prompting Dwayne Johnson to respond. He said that in the world of storytelling, you can't manage box office performance. The only things you can control are your acting and commitment. In other words, he emphasized that they did their job well. The fact that the film didn't perform at the box office isn't their responsibility. From the box office, the new Tron film was also released last week, with its red carpet events taking place. So far, its box office performance isn't remarkable, but a video went viral showing Jared Leto fighting an AI robot named Optimus, created by Elon Musk. Now, let's move on to the final segment, Spicy News. The first story involves Ridley Scott. In a recent interview, he said that most films today are terrible. The only movies he enjoys watching now are his own films. He stated that he builds his films in a way that ensures they never become outdated. Interestingly, many social media users pointed out that some of his recent films, like Napoleon and Gladiator II, haven't been very well received. Currently, Ridley Scott has 8 films in production, 4 of which are in post-production and scheduled for release in 2026 and 2027. The second spicy news item involves George Clooney. In a candid new interview, he admitted that he has tried almost every drug imaginable, even the most dangerous ones. He explained that this was part of the Hollywood lifestyle. Back in the 1980, while filming the TV series Taxi, he and the entire cast would do cocaine together, believing it was less harmful than heroin. He also mentioned that he never liked marijuana, sharing a story where he smoked it while watching The Wizard of Oz with friends. The effect was so strong that he couldn't hear the movie's audio at all, and instead listened to Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. He emphasized that although he experimented with drugs, it never caused serious problems in his life. However, he refused to let his children grow up in that kind of culture. For that reason, he and his family moved to France, where he raised his children on a farm, keeping them away from Hollywood. And that's it for this week's video. I hope you found it interesting. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like the video and stay tuned for next week's news. Goodbye!